Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, it is I am the one and only Pac-Man here, and once again I am back for the likes of the Maxi Toys videos. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of DuckTales 2 for the Nintendo Entertainment System and for the Famicom for those of you who lived in Japan. So, last time we did manage to able to explore for those first 3 stages in the game, but at the very least we did manage to able to already collected 3 treasures so far, and also we've actually got ourselves some of these pieces of the map. So the amount of pieces of map we've got at the moment, it was definitely now up to 5. So yeah, because obviously we've only got 2 pieces of map left until we basically able to actually unlock the 6th and the optional stage in the game. So today, for this video, is the fact that this will be the finale in terms of DuckTales 2, and because of that, we're going to be heading on to the next level, which appears to be, what else? Scotland. And we'll save Egypt for last, because, well, it seems pretty obvious about the fact that I can definitely see why, that most people seem to able to save, you know, Egypt for last, because, well, even though it's entirely up to you, that, like I said, that it's entirely up to the player to be able to select what stage they're about to go to. So, usually I always attempt to be able to go onto the forms of the corresponding, order for the sake of the forms of some of these, level selections. So, that might be something is worth, classifying for noticing this from the start. So, yeah, you get the idea about that. So, yeah, today's day is, of course, the 27th of March today, in this case in 2022 today, and as I promised you guys, until tomorrow, that we will definitely going to be able to get started with the forms of Kirby and Forgotten Land Let's Play, and during at some point until tomorrow, and especially noticeable in the next few days, ranging from the forms of in, you know, every Mondays and Wednesdays and Fridays, spoiler alert for those of you who not know what to expect, because as far as I'm aware about the fact that recently Ray the Flying Squirrel will be definitely going back onto Donkey Kong Land 2 for maybe, you know, Tuesday and Thursday from now on, for the sake of the forms of the last few remaining parts for the likes of Donkey Kong Land 2. So yeah, you probably get the idea of how this is going when it comes to uploading schedules alike. So, but I digress. So, and as far as I'm aware as well, is the fact that we've only got about 5 more days to go, for those of you who lived in the UK, that the Sonic the Hedgehog 2 movie is going to be releasing in the UK until next 5 days. So yeah, I'm very excited about this, even though that the American version of that particular film, that is not going to be released until specifically the 8th of April. So you guys have to wait for a little longer, or especially noticeable for those of you who lived in Japan, they have to wait even much longer until specifically at some point in August. So, but then again though, it just takes some time, especially noticeable just trying to able to redub you know, the Japanese voice actors in the film. So yeah, it makes a bit sense to able to actually just to, you know, redub the voices into its Japanese dub version. So yeah, you probably get the gist of it. So, and it's also sure worth noting for is the fact that I'm pretty sure that Ray the Flying Squirrel has already mentioned about this ever since and during the course of you know, Donkey Kong Land 2 Let's Play. That is the fact that, relatively speaking, is the fact that in addition to the forms of how the fact that we can able to possibly predict, when it comes to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Course Pass, by able to actually, hopefully they'll try to announce more courses up to the point that, you know, because after all, we've already got, you know, 2 cups already, so we're expecting we can able to wait for the 3rd cup and the 4th cup, maybe at some point in this year's E3, so makes it pretty obvious for the sake of the entire pattern, because, well, as far as what Ray the Flying Squirrel has already mentioned about, that obviously we will wait for the 3rd and 4th cups until this year's E3, and then we'll wait until at some point during September time, during the course of the forms of Cup 5 and 6, and vice versa on the same vote from the likes of New Year for the likes of 2023. Like, for example, we'll get Cups 7 and 8 from the likes of the forms of, well, let's just say, next year's February, or something like that, or next year's spring. Oh, and by the way, this is the actual toughest obstacle, by the way, because if you try to time your pogo stick bouncing well enough, then you would be able to find these couple of mini treasures, but also about the fact that we find another piece of map. So, at the very least, we actually got these. So, and I think we've only down to one more treasure map left until we basically managed to able to unlock the 6th and the optional level throughout the game. Even though that's, then again, I will try to able to go for the best ending, like I said, since Journey Forms have been yesterday. So, yeah, you probably get the idea of how this is going. So, but anyway, though, anywho, and, obviously, because of how the fact that I suppose that Ray has also mentioned about this as well, ever since in Donkey Kong Land 2 Let's Play as well, that it is somewhat technically confirmed that maybe, just maybe, that one of those vanilla-like tracks from the likes of in Super Mario Kart will make its return from the likes of the forms of the Booster Course Pass. So, it makes a bit sense, because if you see that little, billboards or signboards to be found around the track, then basically there's the fact that it might actually be confirmed. But we'll have to wait and see what happens during at some point in this year's E3 in digital events. So, anyway, so let's go ahead and take on the next boss in the game, which appears to be the Sorcerer Duck. So basically, he's pretty simple. Basically, he just somehow managed to able to do, almost to the point it does like a double team effect. And then basically it's your chance to able to actually just use the cane to able to do a pogo stick bouncing onto him for about, once again, 5 times. Slightly a bit easier than the forms of how it does it on that Golem Duck though, because, my god, Golem Duck is actually a lot harder to deal with. But, regardless of such though, if you're trying to memorize of what the real one is, then you should probably deal with this fight just okay enough. So, there we go, that pretty much concludes Scotland, and we've only got one more level left, and that is of course Egypt, which, in addition to able to actually try to explore Egypt, but also we are, you know, now on 6 pieces of the map so far, so I get the strong sense of feeling that the last piece of the map will be located in Egypt. So, but here's the catch though, but then again though, we'll point it out whenever we're able to dive right into the actual stage itself. So here we go, onto the pyramid, and the treasure we need to find is that particular sword, or in this case a knife, rather, as what it says on the text. So, I do apologize if I somehow didn't pay attention to that whatsoever. But anyway, let's get into the forms of the Egypt. So, basically it's like a desert kind of level, and it almost kind of reminds me of the forms of the Pharaoh Man stage for a bit, from the likes of the forms of in Mega Man 4, because obviously this takes place in the Journey forms in the desert, of course. And, oh, darn, I forgot about the forms of those trap floors, that you somehow managed able to go through it. So, how's it going, Uncle Scrooge? Yeah, doing fine, but there are a lot of, trap floors here and there. But, hopefully we'll get the gist of it. So, anyway, so I'm very surprised that we're actually getting pretty close towards the end for the sake of the forms of DuckTales 2. Although, as soon as we're able to actually get into the forms of DuckTales Remastered, at some point in Journey forms of it next year, marking its 10th anniversary of this amazing remaster, basically though is the fact that that particular remaster will be expected to become a bit longer than the forms of how it does in the forms of the original game back on the NES. You know, kind of like the same thing from the likes of the forms of Mega Man came out on the NES, and that game is really, really short, whilst the forms of in the PSP remake, that, you know, Mega Man powered up, as far as that's been the case, that, basically that particular game is considerably a bit longer than the forms of how it does in the original version of the game, I can tell. But, you know, you get the idea of how I usually decide able to talk about this, so... But I digress. So, I haven't seen the actual reviews of the forms of, although I'm sure that Ray the Flying Squirrel has already mentioned about this when it comes to the forms of, Kirby and the Forgotten Land, review scores. I don't think there's any point I can able to mention about that. So, anyway, so this particular hint right there, this is going to be important because, and also you have to memorize this, because if we go onto the left side of this particular obstacle, and all the while we're able to now come across into those little, down switches that you can able to actually just to stand on, and basically, oh my god, what is this, like Mega Man all over again with all those disappearing platforms? But thankfully you got more time to able to actually just to well, get ourselves a bit of a recovery seal or something like that. So, anyways, here's the actual puzzle right here. So basically, all you have to do is basically just step on 1 3 times, and then step on 3 2 times, and then step on 4 for 1 time, and step on 2 for about 4 times. So, and if you do that successfully, you will find yourself the final piece of the map. So, as soon as you're able to actually get all 7 of those pieces of the map, that way we can now able to actually just to discover a 6th and the optional level. So in this case, we've got all the pieces. So, and this will pretty much lead us to the secret passage in somewhere, right next to Scotland, if I'm presuming so already. So, because of the basement it says in the castle, so in this case, we're able to actually go in there and find out. So, after going for the actual shop menu, but honestly, I don't think I can able to buy anything from here. So here we go, onto the forms of the 6th and the optional level throughout the entire game, which appears to be by the forms of, if I was able to classify for making this particular name sense for a level, this level is called the underground portion of Scotland, because obviously the entire structure of this level feels a bit slightly identical to the forms of how it does it in Scotland, except the fact that apparently we ended up on the sewers section or something like that, because obviously we ended up in the underground portion of this entirety of the Scotland. So, and this level is pretty tricky, because you have to do have a lot of emphasis on tricky platforming here and there, and on top of all that stuff though, some of these enemies that just seems to throw you off at points. But when you get the hang of it though, it might not be too bad, all things considered. Although, unlike any forms of how it does it on, let's just say, the Egypt level, that I will have to admit though, the Egypt level is similar to the forms of how it does it in the Moon from the first game. The Egypt level is a bit backtracky for sure, especially noticeable if you're trying to find these all kinds of secrets, especially noticeable with how the fact that, well, it does have a lot of emphasis on the forms of puzzle solving, because, well, as far as I can tell about the fact that, like I said, this game has a lot of emphasis on puzzles this time around, which, as long as you weren't able to pay attention to it very clearly, you weren't able to actually have no issues there. But for those who have a first time experience in the game though, then it's important that you have to able to actually just to pay attention to what either Huey, Dewey, or Louie managed to able to mention about something like this. So anyways, let's go and open up this another treasure, which contains another gem. So in this case though, we got tons of money. And of course, the next boss we have is the Sorcery Duck again? Okay, so it appears to be we're fighting the exact same boss as before, except the fact that the biggest difference is now this time is that if you dare touch the forms of that particular magic spell projectile, that if you dare touch it, basically you turn into a frog. I mean, what is this, like the Princess and the Frog prequel? Well, I have no idea why I just bring it up. But anyway, just like always, just hit him 5 times with the usage of the forms of the cane as a pogo stick. And from here, we get ourselves the legendary lost treasure from McDuck. So in this case, we actually got ourselves the, I won't classify for saying the 6th treasure. Well, I honestly have no words to say, because I know it has been a couple of hours since I did manage to able to actually just last touch this. So, anyway, so now we're done with the underground level, and now let's head back into Egypt again, except this time we need to go for the level as normal. So, thankfully it won't be taking too long though, but like I said, that the majority of the levels in this game is going to be a bit lengthy and longer this time around, like I said, unlike the ones in the first game, that is relatively short. Well, the only time exception being is the Moon, because, you know, like I said, that particular level has a lot of emphasis on backtracking sometimes, but it doesn't bother me too much though, I kind of think about it though. But anyway, so let's just go ahead and go back all the way down there, and we'll still have Dewey right here, but anyways, let's go ahead and keep on moving. So knowing we don't need to worry about just trying to able to go down there again, because after all, we've already got all of the pieces of the map now. So yeah, that might be something worth noting for. So, and since that, as you probably already know, that I've already got myself the lost treasure of McDuck, basically that allows me to able to get the best ending. So yeah, because if you don't get it, however, though, I'm pretty sure this, that particular ending scene will alter it slightly. Although, mind you, I haven't exactly looked upon that much playthroughs of the game as far as for myself, though. So, yeah, forgive me if I somehow managed to budge things up a little bit. So, yeah, I do apologize for that. So, yeah, you probably noticed about the fact that we haven't exactly catch a ride on that particular guy over there, which, because of this, though, unlike the first game, that basically, if you somehow manage to get a 7 in any digit number for the amount of money total that you've got, which basically this allows you to able to go into the bonus stage by able to actually get a lot of emphasis on collecting more gems by trying to interact with the forms of gyro. Well, in this game this time around, though, there aren't any bonus areas to be found, or to be more specifically, the bonus stage to be found, I should say, just because, well, I've no idea why they managed to able to took that out. So anyway, so there's a big treasure chest containing, of course, the valuable gem. So, oh boy, another extra life. So, yeah, looks like I am so far, not doing too shabby right there. Mind you, that's only mainly because I need to be very cautious and be very careful at the same time. Because, well, like I said, in addition about the fact that, well, if you die in a level, then basically you lose all of your money, and also on top of that, if you find the hidden treasure, and if you somehow die during the forms of after when you find the hidden treasure, you lose one of those hidden treasures as well. So yeah, a bit stingy, but regardless of everything else though, that might be something worth noting for. So alright, so I think we're most able to go back for a bit, just in case about the fact that I just need to double check on any other areas of the Egypt level so far, just in case of how the fact that see if I can able to actually find everything on that place. So, but thankfully we've pretty much found everything as it goes by. So, anyways, let's jump on that snake, even though that particular snake right there can sometimes feels a bit unpredictable at times, I must admit, just because, well, relatively speaking, he likes to jump all over the place. So, anyway, so there's something written on this wall. The one who sees the lights of the sun will find a way. This must be how you get the treasure. Okay? So that hint, as was what Huey just able to actually mention, that's basically that's the actual obvious hint. But before we continue, on the other hand though, well, I found another secret wall, and basically this will pretty much lead me to, oh, it just leads me back here. Oh, okay. I keep thinking about the forms of that particular treasure that's coming up, as far as after when you ask Huey for a moment. So yeah, let's just go ahead and continue things on here. So in this case, let's go ahead and, you know, go back up again, because after all, we've already double checked on the right part of that particular path already. So, and I believe if you keep on going to the right, I'm pretty sure it takes you to the boss. So in this case though, let's not worry about this too much, because let's go ahead and hit on here and find another pathway, and basically you come across into this little mirror and the actual shining light, and basically use the cane to pull it over towards the sunlight, and basically that opens the path that actually leads us to the hidden treasure. So there we go, we've actually got all the treasures so far in the game, well, apart from this one last remaining treasure until we're able to fight the next boss. So yeah, that should be you know, self-explanatory as far as this has been concerned with. So, but I digress. Before we continue, we need to grab some more gems, so that way I could able to get up to, I highly doubt I probably won't be able to make it to $10 million, unlike the forms of how it does on the first game, but I will try my best if I somehow manage to able to reach that certain amount. So anyway, so now we're done with that, and now let's head back up there again. And hopefully we would able to actually complete the Egypt level as soon as we possibly can. But anywho, so yeah, before we go to the right, need to take care of this enemy first, and then just see what's in here. Another gem. So at the very least, we are quite valuable when it comes to forms of getting a lot of money for a certain amount of things and stuff like that. So anyway, let's just jump on him again, and oh, hello. Anyway, so let's go and use those things to making them as platforms while just trying to able to get up. Oh, I was literally so close able to get that gem, but I wasn't predicting that time. But oh well, no big deal. So anyways, let's go in here and fight the next boss, which appears to be known as Pharaoh Duck, which it can be easy, but at the same time kind of tough, because you have to predict of which specific placement he's going to be out of from that particular quicksand. So regardless of such though, still jump on in 5 times, and that should be good to go. And there's the final treasure we've got, ladies and gentlemen, because, well, we have accomplished it. So, yay, we basically complete every level in the game. Do we, though? Well, after going through this... Oh, wait a second. Uncle Scrooge, it's terrible. Webby's being kidnapped. You have to rescue her. If you want Webby back, Scrooge, meet me at my ship. Oh yes, be sure to bring your treasures. So yeah, after going for this item shop for the final time, even though it seems kind of pointless, because we now on to the final level in the game, which apparently we're going back in here apparently, but except going down there, so instead we now need to go all the way to the right, and you notice that particular thing hasn't been opened up from the very beginning of the game. Well, now it's been opened at the finale portion, which leads us to the final boss of the game. So, I've been waiting for you, Scrooge. I'll be taking those treasures now. Well, there goes all the treasures, you dumb. Thank you so much for the treasures. Now, let me show you something in return. So in this case, what the hell? Did he transform into, like, a robot? So yeah, the final boss of this game was apparently D1000. So, and honestly, this boss fight is pretty easy. So basically, it's the fact that after when he does that attack, basically there's your chance to able to jump on him for once again 5 times. And then after a while though, after several amount of hits, despite the fact that I just keep on getting hits most of the time. But regardless of such though, yeah, that was it. Incredible. The D1000 was defeated, but I'll have the last laugh. I'll sink the ship and all of the treasure aboard. Or on board, rather. Sorry for the actual commentary, it's a little bit meh, but at least we are able to actually just deal with the final boss. The treasures, they're all sunk into the sea. Oh, that's not good. It's too bad we lost all of the treasures, but at least we've got each other. I suppose true friendship is all you really need for happiness. Don't worry, Uncle Scrooge. Your treasure's safe. Oh, is there? Hey, look! Our treasure! It is safe! Well, it's a good thing we've managed able to utilize one of the characters to able to help out. That's not all of it. Look, I've got another treasure right here. So yeah, that's what happens if you do manage able to complete the 6th and the optional level, is that you're able to get that particular, the lost treasure of McDuck, on top of the forms of Scrooge McDuck. So, yeah, that was essentially how the good ending plays out. And afterwards, though, much like the first game, there's no credits or anything, it just cuts straight into the end segment, and also, it shows you how much money you've got throughout the entire game. So, yeah, let's give my final thoughts of DuckTales 2. Much like the original DuckTales game, oh man, a really awesome game, I will have to say. Especially noticeable, it does have the exact same platforming challenges as the ones how it does it on the first game. But regardless of such though, I had a blast playing this game. And especially noticeable that, well like I said, until when it gets to the point until 2023, that hopefully we'll get around onto DuckTales Remastered until that time, during the forms of the 10th anniversary of the release of DuckTales Remastered since 2013. So, yeah, that was it, ladies and gentlemen. That was it for the forms of DuckTales 2 for the Nintendo Entertainment System / Famicom for those of you who lived in Japan, but I digress. The visuals still looks really damn good, even on the NES title, even though it's relatively unchanged than the forms of how it does it on the first game, so I guess it's like, you know, kind of similar to what Mega Man does, like the similar graphics and everything, so yeah, regardless of anything else though, that's as far as I can usually think about it. And we'll promise you guys, and yes, until next weekend, that hopefully some toy sales or Mexi will finally able to actually return back onto Mario Party until specifically next weekend by going through Mario Party 8. So, anyway, so thank you guys so much for watching of our Let's Play of DuckTales 2. And this is me, Pac-Man, from the likes of the Mexi Toys. And until then, I'm gonna take a break after dealing with all kinds of, like, platforming challenges and here and there. So I'll see you guys some point soon.